Hello and welcome to the final game of round 2 of the Signet WNBL 24-25 season. It's Red Energy Arena. It's the Bendigo Spirit hosting the newest team in the league, Geelong United, in what is a new regional Victoria rivalry. My name is Matt Hickey. I'm joined by Mark Alabakov. We've got Candy Hertz roaming courtside, but Mark, great to have you back in the booth, and really intriguing clash we've got ahead of us today.
It is the first matchup between these two regional Victorian teams. We've got the Spirit on top of the table, looking to maintain their hot form on their home floor, and Geelong with a big challenge to rise to, but they'll be fueled by the confidence of that big win that they had against the Southside Flyers earlier in the round.
They certainly will be, as we take a look at the results that have happened so far in round 2, and Geelong did get that first win in their history, a big win over the reigning champs, who then managed to pick up their first win of the season against the Flames last night. The Spirit have also played, and they put the Caps to the absolute sword. It was a 23-point victory, a big victory, and that is where we're going to start. The Bendigo Spirit, a hot start, 2-0 mark, an area very close to your heart, and a team close to your heart, and this team's coming together nicely.
They are, and I mean, it's hard, we're talking off air about this, to think of a WNBL franchise that has had a better series of acquisitions of Australian talent as the Spirit had with Mariana Tolo and with Sammy Whitcomb. It's hard to see who'll challenge them in these early stages. They've had the 2 wins versus the Lightning and the Caps. You win with veteran talent in this competition, and they've done a tremendous job of putting wins on the board early.
They certainly have. You mentioned Sammy Whitcomb, and wasn't she good against the Caps? 25 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, and to start this season, she's averaging 26.7 rebounds, a couple of steals. She's 10 of 20 from the land of plenty, and that's after shooting less than 30% from deep last year.
She's been incredible, and I think the main catalyst for these performances compared to last season with Townsville, where she had to share a whole lot of ball in hand time with the likes of Steph Reid, she's going to be the closer, she's going to be the finisher for this Bendigo Spirit lineup. She's electric, she's got the ability to make clutch plays when they need her to, and she's led the scoring, as you mentioned, in both of their wins, but also with high levels of assists, so she gets others involved.
Certainly one to watch. Candy Hertz, our person down there on the sideline, she got to chat to Kennedy Kiriyama.
Coach Kiriyama, 2-0, top of the ladder at this early stage. What a great, exciting position to be in. And of course, that last win just less than 48 hours ago. How do you continue that winning momentum into today?
Yeah, look, I think for us it's just to continue to find our way and our brand of basketball. And right now that's been based on defense and unselfish play on the offensive end. So from again our perspective, it's still very early stages, and although we're happy with where we're at, we certainly know we can be much better.
And already some great contribution from your DP, some of them getting their first minutes last game, some of them the first minutes ever in the WNBL. How are you feeling about your DP's role this season?
Yeah, look, really comfortable. I know certainly from my perspective, it's been a big focus for us for the last couple of seasons here, getting young people in, trying to get them promoted into contracts and find ways to continue to develop and unearth new talent. And we're really blessed to have some of regional Victoria's and the country's best here at this club.
Looking forward to seeing your team out there again today, Coach.
Thank you very much.
We heard Coach Kennedy Kiriyama talk about the young players, Mark, but it's a savvy veteran, Mariana Tolo, that's having a big impact as well.
She is. So she's 3rd in the league in rebounds, 1st for offensive boards with 6 of them. The main thing that she brings is world-class IQ and world-class intangibles. She does little things to help the team win, so she's got the capacity to go and put points on the board, but otherwise she always finds a way to contribute, usually on the defensive end.
She certainly does, and another one to watch. There's plenty of big names in this game. We now move our attention over to Geelong United, who finally, well, I say finally, they're only 0-1. They only lost 1 game, but they got their first victory of the season. It was in front of their home fans against the Flyers, and it was a tense final few moments of that one, Mark.
It was, and they hung on and did a tremendous job. They were highly motivated. It was an inspired win, and it came through on what they were trying to do on the defensive end. You had active hands, deflections, steals. They did a tremendous job of disrupting the Flyers, and they just kept coming. They've got to keep that play-to-win mindset if they're going to challenge the Bendigo Spirit today.
They certainly do, and one of the key pieces for them has been Keely Froling to start this season. She's averaging 16.5 points, 10.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks per game. She's going to have her hands full as well because they're lacking a little bit of depth in the front court.
Exactly right. So in the absence of Kaiser and Raber, she's probably going to have to play some centre position again, which means she's going to be matched up on Mariana Tolo, the taller and more experienced. But they were former teammates. Both of them have championship experience for their respective sides. They'll probably look to go to her early to get her into the ball game, but she steps in when the team needs it. She carries them through clutch moments.
And Candy Hurt spoke to Geelong coach Chris Lucas pre-game.
Coach Lucas, congratulations. Your first win and the first win ever for the franchise and against the Flyers. What a way to do it. What's that done for morale leading into today?
Look, I'm just, I said in the media after the game, I was just really happy for the girls. I would have been really disappointed for them if they didn't get the result. Their mindset shifted and we come to work every day and loving it.
It's nice to see the energy from you as well with that.
Yeah, I don't give much away, do I? But at the end of the day, like loving the group, we work hard, we're young. We're building for the future, for the Geelong, for the youngsters coming through and creating a pathway, and I think we've got a good group to do that with.
Now you've got Danielle still out, of course, at the EuroLeague qualifiers representing Israel. We've got Lynetta out as well with illness still, unfortunately. What's the plan for today's rotation?
Look, at the end, we're going to change it up a little bit, and at the end of the day, we've got 2 DPs in the group, so we'll look to change it up a little bit and mix it up, but we're going to play a similar style, but we also know that Sammy and Tolo are big assets for Bendigo, and they're scoring 90 to 100 points a game, and we're probably not we don't think we can get to that against this team, but we'll see how we go.
Looking forward to seeing you out there today, Coach.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
And Hayley Jones has also been a big impact player for Geelong United, Mark.
She's been highly complimentary to Keely Froling that we spoke about earlier. So she's averaging the 14 points per game, the 3.5 assists. But if we take just the game against the Flyers earlier in the round, she was a portrait of efficiency. Shot 57% from the field, 100% from the three-point line. She's going to need to get some points on the board today to put up a winnable scoreline.
No doubt. And now we get a chance to talk to Candy Hurts live on the sidelines.
Team, and happy Sunday. As we heard from both coaches, clearly this season across the Signet WNBL, the DPs are having some very important roles. Now, congratulations to Lavinia Cox. She's the newest DP to join Bendigo Spirit just yesterday. She's only 18 years old. She joins Asha and Opal, all 3 of them Year 12 students right now, only 18 years old, doing their exams for school. So could you imagine doing your exams and being an elite athlete at the same time? Bendigo is beautifully bookended with some of the amazing veterans like Kelly Wilson in her 22nd year, and also we've got the wonderful Kelsey Griffin too. No wonder some great mentorship that'll be on court today.
Thanks, Candy. And I can't imagine doing my Year 12 exams right now in any fashion, let alone worrying about professional basketball. But we're ready to go here. The Spirit and Geelong United underway, and it is Geelong that will get the first look in this regional Victoria rivalry. Need to get off to a good start in their first away game of the season here, Geelong. Ball movement was good to start. Froling from the wing, not quite, and Bendigo will get a look back the other way. So down to single digits here on the shot clock for Bendigo. Sammy Whitcomb got to get busy. Not a bad play to get busy. Finds Tolo going to work, and that is the size mark that is going to be a big factor in this game.
Absolutely it is. And you see the last 2 people that were the catalyst for a late shot clock basket. It's Whitcomb going into Tolo.
So the Spirit draw first blood in this one. And Geelong will want to come up with an answer and one quickly. Nice little hesitation. Great move there from Keely Froling. The little up faker. Raised the eyebrows as all it took, Mark.
Absolutely. And, I mean, she's playing on the perimeter, so she's trying to stretch out Mariana Tolo and force the taller Tolo to play her on the three-point line.
And a big hit back the other way. So the Spirit early answers. Their offense high-powered to start this game.
They've been shooting the three-point shot at an incredible clip. Something like 46% in their last game and 53, I believe, in game number 1. So unfathomable how well they've been shooting the basketball from the Land of Plenty.
And it's a team that is wired to do so, especially when you've got a big inside presence like Tolo. All of a sudden, the defense sinks. There is Sammy Whitcomb on cue. Don't go under the screens, Mark.
I was waiting for that. Absolutely. So, I mean, you've got to trail her. You've got to play as tight to her body as you possibly can and can't give her space to separate.
And here comes Sammy again, takes the ball away, easy as you like, in for 2 more, and just a nightmare start for Geelong. Almost another turnover there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it gets hairy when you've got Whitcomb out there shooting passing lanes and trying to get her fingertips to the basketball. She's pretty crafty off the ball as a defender.
Geelong, a strong take, came from Gemma Potter, and she'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair, and a chance for them just to catch their breath and talk about maybe those defensive rotations.
Absolutely. I mean, we alluded to it earlier. When you're guarding somebody like Sammy Whitcomb, I mean, she's going to be, as layman as this sounds, easier to defend if she doesn't have the ball. So to make her catches as difficult as possible is something that you want to try to do. And then you've got to try to bring some level of pressure to encourage her to give the basketball up. She's too dangerous and too creative a scorer if she's got ball in hand.
Splits the pair there, Potter. Opens up her account for today, and they'll need a big performance out of her. A little half-court trap here from Geelong. Although the Spirit worked through it quite easily in the end. Whitcomb, I think she wanted to shoot the first one. Creates a little bit of space, falls away. Sammy Whitcomb, she's in a mood early, gets her own rebound, which we don't see too often. Extra pass, and no dice from Casey Samuels.
And whenever you deploy something like that, a half-court trap, sometimes a rushed shot or out-of-rhythm shot is as good as a steal.
Spirit get off there, led off there quite easily, because Jazz Shalley wide open in the corner. That's one you normally see her knock down.
Absolutely, and they're going to need to make every post a winner to put up a score line that can go with the Spirit. I mean, they've had a capacity to put 90-plus points on the board in their first 2 games.
Froling has been the anchor in this team. That is a fantastic move from Keeley. Froling the swing through, used the rim for protection and scores on the reverse. Quick answer though from Bendigo. Up and down we go. Casey Samuels, she comes into this game shooting 7 of 18 from deep. We've got a timeout on the floor because Geelong want to talk things over, Mark.
Right, and it makes total sense. There's nothing that builds more momentum than a 3-point shot going down, especially if it's on the end of something that's wide open or an extra pass. So the fact that Spirit knocked that one down, that's warning signs if you're Geelong or if you're coach Chris Lucas. You want to stem this tide and defend the 3-point line better.
You certainly do. Now, we're calling all sports teams. You can say goodbye to travel headaches and say hello to CTM Sport. CTM are 100% committed to delivering excellence in their field. Leave the logistics to the travel experts so your athletes can focus on what they do best. Learn more at ctmsport.com.au. That is ctmsport.com.au, and we've had 18 points in the first 3 and a bit minutes. It's all happening, but it's far too easy for Bendigo at the moment.
It is, and you know they live and die at the moment by their 3-point shot, and they're doing a tremendous job of creating those opportunities and them knocking them down at a tremendous clip as well. When you look at this early stage of the game, half of their shot attempts have come from the 3, and they're shooting at 50%. So everything is on track if you're the Bendigo Spirit and Coach Kennedy Kariyama. For Geelong, you want to try and force this Spirit team to score in other ways. Sometimes that can be, you know, with how you defend on the ball, or rolling out that half-court trap. It just breaks the rhythm. It changes the focus or the way that they try to create advantages. You've got to find a way to keep them guessing.
And some full-court pressure here from Bendigo. A little token, but just coming out and maybe sending a little message, we're here to play from the outset. It's got to be a bit of a coach killer, and one where you tear your hair out when Sammy Whitcomb, who's probably number 1 on the scouting report, comes out and gets some very, very easy looks to start the game.
Absolutely, and look, there's no one player, I don't think, in the competition that can shut her down. It's got to be the sum of everybody's efforts.
Samuels again, line drive 3, one more time for Casey Samuels, continues her hot start to the season.
And that also would be a moment where you're pulling your hair out as a coach.
Wide open, she just made one prior to the timeout. She gets another open look. Rolling feet set, she's full of confidence at the moment. That one doesn't go, and Samuels, which is everywhere, and quickly back the other way goes Kelly Wilson. Little drop-off pass to Whitcomb. And the 2-player game here between Whitcomb and Tolo. Fantastic pass. The triple team came. She was called for a travel.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate that she's slipped at a really crucial point, but what you look for is that 2-player game, like you mentioned, the pick and roll with Whitcomb and Tolo. Everybody else spaces the floor, and they just give them maximum room to do their thing.
Crowd starting to fill out at Red Energy Arena, the new regional Victorian rival between these two teams. Geelong, they need an answer here to start this game. It has been a very slow start after the win, and that is not going to help things one bit, Monk.
No, unfortunately. I mean, look, it's the first shot she's taken for the game, Hayley Jones, so just finding, getting her eye in as a shooter, but it's the shot that she's got to take, coming off with that mid-range pull-up.
4 of 6 from deep here in the first moments of the first quarter. Bendigo, Wickham, how sweet was that? Hoop plus the harm. She'll go to the line for one more.
Such a strong finisher, and she leverages body contact, so she'll drive along the baseline, and instead of taking that straight line, she brings her body back into where the defender is and then rides that contact to find her balance in the air, makes the basket, but as you said, there's the harm, so she goes to the free throw line.
She certainly does, makes the free throw. Let's throw it down to Candy Hertz, who's listening to that timeout.
Yeah, the reason why Coach Lucas called an early timeout is he just said to the team, I just don't feel like we're on the same page just yet. You've got to work a lot harder to get more open. Let's see if we'll get that for the rest of this first quarter.
Thanks, Candy. One to keep an eye on as the next 5 minutes unfolds here in the first quarter. Bit of a rushed possession and a quick look from Potter. Didn't get it to go. Good follow, and that's the type of thing that they have to do, mate.
Absolutely. When you're trying to eat into this margin, which was 14 points, we're now down to 12, it's going to come off deflections like this and layups and offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Got to start with the 1%ers, but you have to look after the ball as well. Turnover quickly back the other way. Wickham on the reverse. It's the Sammy Wickham show at the moment in Bendigo. Not sure why I say at the moment, it's always the Sammy Wickham show.
And it will be. Early front runner for MVP of the league if we were voting today.
She's got the length of the Flemington straight, I think, at the moment in terms of that vote. Frolling with the jumper, no dice, and she has to get going if they are any chance this afternoon, Geelong. And just the worst possible start from them, and weak side defense came across to help. They were lucky. Ellsworthy was good enough to recover. Wickham just takes a moment to pick herself up in backcourt. We'll keep an eye on that. Now back into the frame, which is good to see. Good hands, Samuels. Bendigo doing everything right at the moment. Wilson gets to her spot. Tolo with the mid-range jumper. And an offensive rebound, doing a big load of work. Burton kicks to Samuel. She's got 2. Can't go for 3 from deep. They get another road board. Bendigo, and it is all too easy for the Spirit here in the first quarter.
That's the benefit of having Mariana Tolo on your roster. She's got, that's the first offensive rebound, but averaging 6 per game. 6 times she wins you the ball back.
And another turnover. Sammy Wickham with the takeaway, and this is a little reminiscent of Geelong's first game of the season, not the game they played against the Flyers.
Exactly right. And, when you're coaching a team that is youthful in terms of its experience at this level, you've got to ride a roller coaster, and sometimes you've got to step in and coach a whole lot more, and other times you give a little bit more rein. But the roller coaster of the best and worst, you're trying to always bridge that gap as a coach.
Sammy Wickham heading to the line. She's already got 10 points, 3 rebounds, a steal, 4 of 5 from the field, and now heads to the free throw line. And of course she buries the first. What a start for Bendigo. What a start for Sammy Wickham. And the crowd certainly involved early. She goes 2 from 2. And the turnovers, Mark, that's the big concern at the moment for Geelong, because they haven't necessarily been from incredible defensive pressure. They've just been a little bit lazy in the turnovers.
Yeah, and I think it's like Candy alluded to listening to Coach Chris Lucas's timeout. They just don't look in sync on the offensive end. And how that manifests, what that looks like, is just this last possession. Shelley, who's a dangerous scorer, goes to the basket. Only 2 people touch the ball in that possession. So they've got to find their way and try to recalibrate. You can do that in a huddle, or this quarter-time break probably can't come sooner for them.
A few of the younger Bendigo Spirit players, which we heard about in the program, getting onto the court now. Clock winding down. That's a really tough fall-away jumper from Jones. It doesn't go, but they will get another look. Frolling hoists it up and hoists it in. A big basket for Geelong as they look just to stem the tide here in Bendigo.
I like what she's trying to do. So she's taken the 6 shot attempts already. I think 2 or 3 of them have been 3-point attempts. She's stretched Mariana Tola out to the 3-point line, taken her off the dribble.
Wide open look for Sammy Wickham again. Doesn't make it. We just assumed it was going to go in, Mark.
Scary stuff.
Good early seal. Did the work early. No score. So Hannah Hank, the former Clemson athlete, did a great job of establishing herself down low and draws the foul, but it's going to be, I think, baseline ball.
She proved to be really helpful in the game earlier in the round against the Flyers. She was a target inside. She went off the dribble from the elbow, able to play through a bit of contact, but brought a really good energy that the rest of the team fed off of.
Sideline ball in the end, as we see Froling go to work again, and she scores. She's going to end up having to take 30 shots in this game, Mark.
Right, she has to empty the clip. I think that she's got to be their primary target, and any time that she sees time and space or a matchup that she likes, she's got to be aggressive.
She's got 9 of their 12 points to start this game. Great effort to keep that one in bounds. And the scoop through finds its way to Hannon, who's just come onto the court. Good defensive play and possession there from Geelong as they push back the other way. Haley Jones got the block. Ellsworthy was open on the wing. Froling on the 45, waiting patiently as well, and just a loose pass. Wickham, another steal. Sammy doing whatever she wants out there and is fouled by Jones, who's a little shocked by it, but it looked like a fair bit of contact there on the baseline.
But the key was the defensive play that she made down the far end. So being able to step back in the passing lane when the Geelong team was trying to throw the ball inside to Keely Froling again, she just ducked back, got a deflection, then they push in transition and she gets the ball back, gets herself a baseline ball out of the play.
And a great second look on the Amy replay there as Sammy Wickham's up and under replay. Good watch that Amy replay for the rest of the game. That's how sweet that one was from Sammy. 1 minute to play here in the first quarter. Up, under, around, did all the work, but not quite. Froling stuck with the play and came up with the stop. Need a couple of baskets to win the corner. Here's Hank, and she turned it over. And turnovers galore at the moment for Geelong. Kelly Wilson happy just to get things going. Second all-time in WNBL assists. Does she get one here? She certainly does. Chalk it up, another assist to Kelly Wilson, and the Spirit extend their lead. Ellsworthy wide open. The blue sea just parted for her there, and she swung through and led to the line for one more.
I see what you did there, blue sea. Very creative. No, look, and this is where the Spirit have rolled out a youthful lineup. There's an exuberance and energy at one end of the floor. The conditioning that you have when you play against or play at WNBL level is that you've got to move on to the next play as quickly as possible. And I think Coach Kennedy Kerryama will be talking to his troops about getting onto the defensive side of things pretty quickly.
As time winds down, happy to shout out our 4 dealers. Love to see their WNBL sporting heroes and Aussie families conquering their goals, and it's easy to conquer the everyday in the 7-seat Ford Everest Sport SUV. Find the Everest that's right for you at your local Ford dealer as the time winds down for Bendigo, and just as it's been for the entirety of the first quarter, it's the Spirit show. They go whack to end the first 10 minutes, and Bendigo, after the first quarter of play, lead 31-14.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see.
Are they throwing to me? Sitting in on Chris Lucas's catch-up then, and what he's saying to the team is to be much more active defensively, do a better job of contesting shots, and what he wants to see is a lot more ball movement. That was a tough quarter for Geelong United. Let's see if they can pick it up this next quarter.
Board there for Geelong, 31 for Bendigo, so a big start for the Spirit. And Mark, your takeaways from the first quarter, I think the turnover is a big concern for United.
Well, absolutely. They've had the 6 turnovers. Bendigo has 15 points off combined points off turnovers and fast break points. That's almost the entirety of the margin.
Certainly is. As we see, an early little tie-up and tumble, but it's going to stay here with Bendigo, and getting the chance as well to see some of the younger players out there on the floor for the Spirit, which is always good to see. Mariana Tolo, maybe a little bit more experienced than one of the younger players. She couldn't make that one go. He slipped there from Jones, happy to go to work. Kick to Shalley. These ones have to drop for Geelong. They normally do for Jazz Shalley. Tolo took out one of her own teammates but came away with the rebound. Sammy Wickham in that first quarter, not on the floor at the moment. She had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 steals as Tolo can't make that one go, but there's a top performance from her. I mean, we all expect it, but it's always just incredible when you get to see her at full tilt.
Absolutely, and she's playing better than, gosh, probably I've ever seen at WNBL level. She's going to be a massive piece of the push to finals and push for a championship for this Bendigo Spirit lineup.
Tough ass there from Ellsworthy. Tolo getting plenty of contact. She's not too happy with it at the moment, but came away with the rebound. Good defensive start from United, as they come up with momentarily another stop, but a smart tap away, and they'll get another look here. That was Booth who came away with the knock, and eventually she's almost going to shave this again. A fantastic effort from Georgia Booth, but it's going to go the way of Geelong. Had a good NBL 1 career. Good to see her getting an opportunity here in the WNBL, Mark.
Yeah, and plays with a lot of energy. So doubles as a footballer, and you see that shine through in a lot of how she plays it in the basketball space. She's got a gutsiness. She doesn't shy away from any contact. She's persistent with her efforts.
Nice elbow jumper. It was an open look. They just cannot get it to go at the moment. There is a lid on the basket for Geelong. 6 of 19 from the field to start this game. The offense looks a little bit stagnant without Keeley throwing the centerpiece on the floor. Loose ball from Bendigo. After such a hot start, it hasn't been the prettiest of 2 minutes to start the second quarter, Mark.
No, but, I mean, you look at the lineup out on the floor, it's a great opportunity if you're Coach Kennedy Kariyama to blood some of these younger bench players who you never know what could happen in the course of a season. You may have to rely on them at some juncture to come in and play consistent minutes. So where you can find them opportunity and start to build their experience at WNBL level, I think it's really important.
Fall through hands here for Geelong. That's a nice action and a good open look for Potter. She doesn't get it to go.
And the safety net that you have, you know, as you start to coach up these players with more WNBL experience, is you can go basket for basket, and you know that you're maintaining a lead that's in the teens, at the very least.
High-low action looking for Samuels. Kick to the corner. Booth for 3. Gets it to go. Look at Sammy Wickham. She's so pumped up on the sideline to see that one drop for Georgia Booth. She marches onto the court. High fives galore. That's our first points of this second quarter. And with that, the Bendigo Spirit lead 34-14. We have a look at the replay. A great find from Tolo and a fantastic basket for Georgia Booth. The Spirit on fire here at Red Energy Arena. Bendigo Spirit 34-14 in this one as Chris Lucas just eyeballs his players and has a good talking to them. I mean, it gets to it's really hard at this point in the game because in terms of who knows that they're struggling a little bit, the players always know, right? So there's only so much that the big spray and the rev up, although I'm not sure that was a big rev or spray up in any sort from Chris Lucas, but there's only so much that can actually do much.
Absolutely, and you're coaching more qualitative aspects or effort-based metrics. You know, can you stay closer defensively and defend the three-point line better? Can you make sure that you're boxing out, you know, all of the time, not some of the time, and giving extra possession so you've got to defend longer? Can you keep the same zest in transition to try to push the ball down the floor and get yourself some easy baskets?
Let's throw it down to Kenty Hertz, who has more on Geelong United.
No surprises that Chris was saying to the team that they just don't feel like they're hungry enough for the ball today. I'm sure you can see that through broadcast as well. You can definitely see it down here on court, especially when he says, comparative to how Tolo just grabbed for that ball and had that energy, he wants them to be fighting more for every single ball.
I'm taking that as Chris Lucas wants a bit of mongrel, a bit more mongrel. Thanks, Candy, for that. And no surprise that is the message, because they just need to be a little bit hungry, otherwise this could get ugly very fast, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, and it already is heading in that direction, but finding that play-to-win mindset that they had against the Flyers, it's tilted now, you know, where the scoreline starts to play on your mind a little bit. You start to play not to lose. You play conservatively, safely, you second-guess the instincts that you would normally have. It's a challenge to try and break out of that.
Love to see Shelley a little bit more involved at the moment. It's really only been catch and shoot. She dishes that one off to Jones, and a much-needed basket for United.
That'll help, especially in this quarter where they haven't had a whole lot of extra possessions. They've been one and done, one shot attempt, and then the possession's over for them. You know, credit the Spirit for their defensive job and having a hand in that, but you're dealing with an onslaught offensively back the other way.
And Sammy Whitcomb missed one she normally makes. Great flick back, but not quite there from Potter. Had a tough task. Froling takes a tumble, looked like a little slip. And Wilson looks for the drop down to Tolo. One-on-one, low block. Kick to Whitcomb. 3-ball on its way. And the Sammy show rolls on into the second quarter.
But too much time and space for her to get that shot away. Fantastic if you're the Bendigo Spirit, but if you're Coach Chris Lucas with Geelong, Hayley Jones doesn't need to overhelp defensively and give that much time and space to Whitcomb, who's a deadly shooter, to be able to get her shot off uncontested.
Surely the message is we help of everyone except number 32. Just stay at home. Stay at home. Pick her up at half court because you can make them from anywhere.
Mate, pick her up when she gets out of her car in the car park, I say.
Unbelievable start to this game from Sammy Whitcomb. She's up to 15 points. Well on track for another monster afternoon. Great strength from Potter. Wanted the foul call, didn't get it. And of course it ends up in the hands of Sammy Whitcomb.
Who better?
Likes this matchup. They go under the screen again. Help was good. Drop off pass to Tolo, but good hands. So the rotations were a little bit better there from United.
Yeah, you're spot on. Far more proactive is what it looked like, and that's where they're able to get the deflection. Now they've got a bit of a rhythm offensively. Ball touches, sets of hands. They get a good shot. It just doesn't go down in this instance.
There's been a bit of that through the first quarter. Whitcomb, step back three. It's Whitcomb's world. It is Sammy Whitcomb's world.
She is a bona fide star.
Unbelievable, Sammy Whitcomb. She's shooting into the ocean at the moment. She cannot miss. Hard take. It's a charge. Great job from Casey Samuels to get in the right spot. Hayley Jones dropped her shoulder, and the Spirit will get another look. Callie Wilson giving the marching orders. 42-17. Whitcomb up to 18. And I dare say it might end up in her hands again. I think she likes the look of the matchup against Ellsworthy. Wide open, little running two. Why not? Why not more for Whitcomb? At what point do you send a triple, Mark?
Well, I mean,
I think we're past double.
well, look, I think there's a hierarchy, I guess, of things that you think about when someone gets hot. It can be the single matchup. It can be, do you bring help from other places? How early do you bring help?
Casey Samuels with the three.
Goodness.
Can't even get a word off, Mark.
No. And the rim is looking like a hula hoop out there for the Bendigo Spirit, but yeah, it can be matchup. It can be where you bring help from and how long you bring that help in. It can be to bring two players, like you suggested, Matt, to try to get the ball or encourage her to give it up to somebody else, but then you're playing, 5-on-4 or 4-on-3 back the other way.
They're going to come away with it here. Wilson kicks up to Burton, goes herself, scoops through and scores, and it is all too easy for Bendigo here, and Chris Lucas is letting Geelong try to figure it out. He's already burnt the early timeout. This is now a learning moment for Geelong. How can they do it on the court? Go back to the players. How can they settle into this game? And a pushing foul call. So to stay with United, they trail 49-17.
With 3.5 minutes.
Yes, we've still got time to go. Stay powered with Signet, Australia's favourite power bank brand. Keep your devices charged and never miss a moment. Visit signet.com to find your perfect power bank. That's Signet, CYGNETT.com to find your perfect power bank. Foul on the play there.
And the Spirit have gone even younger with the roster. So Asha Nightingale subbing in. She's had some taste of the WNBL action this season. But Lavinia Cox, who I had the privilege of bringing into the NBL 1 program in Bendigo, she played for me for 3 seasons there and emerged every year. Super proud of her to get this opportunity at WNBL level.
What's something you can tell us about Lavinia that the fans might be interested in her?
She's very energetic, super agile, has a really quick first step, and she's another attacking scoring guard.
Another attacking scoring guard. Why not? In Bendigo, they got him in droves. Oh, nice move. How was the step through? It just didn't drop for Hank, but they'll get another look here, Geelong. Not going to get it all in one go, just have to slowly work through it, and that's a good play to get the ball in the hands of Keely Froling for 2. You mentioned Nightingale. She actually missed the game against the Cats as Wickham just gets another steal after throwing the ball away because of her Year 12 exams.
Right. And she's had a stellar career with the Casey Cavaliers. She played with them in their Big Fair Youth League competition. She had a little stint at NBL 1 level where a schedule allowed. But a promising young big for this Bendigo team that's had some really good games, or was tremendous, especially at the Hoop Fest earlier this year.
Good fight for the rebound down low. Look at that. And gets the ball to drop as well. Nightingale on cue.
It's almost like we had the script in front of us.
It's working to the script if you're a Bendigo fan at the moment. As we have a look on the replay, battling against the much more experienced Keely Froling and just held her at bay. How's that from the youngster?
Really strong athlete, really strong close to the basket.
And there's been a technical foul on the court as well. So Wickham, I think did Sonny Wickham just miss a shot there, Mark? Sorry, what? She is human after all.
But this is what you want to avoid if you're Geelong. So things that are effort-based, giving up extra possessions, you've really got to bring it back to the basics of what doesn't get you beaten and can help you win. Can you box out well? Can you have quicker reaction time? Are you proactive defensively rather than reacting to everything that the opponent's doing and always being a step behind? So a great lot of teachable moments coming up for Coach Chris Lucas.
Lead is over 30 at the moment. We've got under 2.5 minutes to play. Nice up fake, sweet move from Hannah Hank, who's putting in some good minutes in what's been a tough afternoon so far for Geelong.
It was a beautiful up fake, wasn't it? Lift to the defender and then went straight by, got herself 2 points.
Also, just going back, that technical foul was assessed on Keely Froling for all of those playing along at home. Confirmation now. Quick trigger. Wickham not quite. Not open again though, which is the biggest concern. Geelong now finally starting to find the bottom of the net. There's Ellsworthy. Good early work there from the Spirit, and then Hannon no look pass, but might have needed to look because she threw it to no one in particular.
Uncharacteristic miscommunication by the Spirit on that particular play. But they hold a very steady lead late in this second quarter.
And just when you're starting to get a little bit of momentum, they bring Marion Tolo back onto the court. You
Right.
see the back of Wickham, and in comes Tolo. And again, talking about depth, but
Bronze medal opal for bronze medal opal.
there's worse substitutions to make. And that play was set up for Shelley to begin with, but she's had a tough day so far. And again, Hannah Hank really putting in a fantastic effort, despite the struggles of her team. Good attack on the boards.
And if you coach Chris Lucas, I mean, you've got to lean into that now. Like who is playing with some fight, with some fire in the belly, giving you those extra efforts. I think that's the way that you've got to roll from a lineup standpoint to try to get yourself back into the picture here on the scoreboard.
And that one rolls out. And you can get all the stats. You can get all of the highlights, team and player info. Make sure you're following it all for today's game on the free WNBL app. Download it from the App Store today. Check out the WNBL app. You can check out highlights just like that 3 for Geelong. And back the other way, some points for Lavinia Cox. And the crowd goes crazy.
And the N1, the local hero. Lavinia, tremendous young athlete. As I said, got to coach her the past 3 seasons in the NBL 1, and this is what she can do. She runs and she plays with energy, especially in transition. She can play through some contact. She's got a background in football as well, so the contact doesn't bother her. Wears that chop of the arms, makes the right-handed layup, and getting up and about.
And she was happy about it as well, as she should be. First WNBL points. And it's the loudest we've heard the crowd all day. And they're up by over 20 points. There's certainly been some highlights, but good to see Bendigo getting behind Lavinia Cox.
And it's very much a community space in Bendigo. They love locals getting the opportunity to show what they can do.
And charge called against Hannah Hank. Tolo drew it and grabbing as a hard fall. And we can have a look at the replay here. Big drop of the shoulder and a hard landing, and we saw a bit of that last night. We've got a timeout on the floor, 42.6 seconds to play in the second quarter, and it's the Bendigo Spirit who lead 55-28. And this game just restarted, and a good drive there from Cox, but she got blocked, and it'll stay with Bendigo. They have a big lead at the moment. 27 points. Testing out my maths early in this first half, Mark. Ball looking for Tolo. Tough shot. I think she might have thought that there was a little less time on the shot clock. Had about 9 seconds. Good tip away. Guess who? Lavinia Cox will go one-on-one. Scoops it with the right. Missed it, but Nightingale was there for the finish. The young players from Bendigo having a say in this one as now Geelong, as the clock winds down, Ellsworthy, big rejection from Mariana Tolo. She says, not in my house.
The thing that's really telling, I mean, the margin is what it is, as you alluded to earlier, but Tolo's taken a charge 2 possessions ago, put her body on the line, then comes across as a help defender and blocked a shot. The effort-based metrics or the things that lead to winning, she's continuing to do, even though the margin is, you know, as blown out as it is currently.
And an offensive foul there off the inbound pass as well. Things just not going right for Geelong, and we got another timeout there on the floor. So wanting to talk things over, and it's the Spirit who lead 57-20. .1 seconds on the clock here in the first half. What do you think they could possibly be drawing up here, Bendigo?
Well, I mean,
you can't advance the ball. To my understanding, Mike, you can't advance the ball here in the first half.
You cannot. You get a sneaky little opportunity to run a play if you were in this position and looking to advance the ball. Sorry, not advance the ball, rather take the ball down the floor versus pressure. You know, in a game where you needed to get a basket, you get a chance to diagram a pattern play that might hold you in good stead later in the season when you might need it. I mean, that's the only reason I can think of.
It's going to be, I think, like an American football type play.
Odd play, yeah.
Wide receivers running around everywhere, and
well, I
see what happens. It's one of those ones where you probably almost have enough time if you get somebody on the run that they can probably get just into the front court if you want to pass in the back court. Otherwise, it's going to have to be one of those touchdown passes deep into the front court.
I anticipate a back screen for Tolo to run to the rim.
It's going to be on the run. Push ahead. Cox with the hoist. And they got a pretty good look in the end. It bounces off the backboard, off the rim. And that will do it for the first half here in Bendigo. And it is the Spirit, the home side. They lead 57-28. They won the first quarter 31-14. They won the second quarter 26-14. And I believe Candy Hertz has the star of the first half, Sammy Wickham, alongside her.
She is an absolute star, Sammy. You came out of the gates really strong and kept it all through that first half. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals as well. You're having a bit of fun out there.
Yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, we just wanted to set the tempo early, set the tone as well, and hopefully we can continue that in the second half.
And that was really exciting to see those last 3 minutes, a couple of the DPs out there and getting some points as well. Those last few timeouts, was that specifically for them?
Yeah, it was to just try and get some execution done, see what works. You know, we don't get a lot of training necessarily once the season goes, so it's really, I think, important to use these minutes.
With such a big lead now as well, what do you think will happen with the rotation this half?
Oh, I think, you know, no team's out ever. They're going to be really scrappy, really tough, really physical. I expect them to throw everything at us, so we have to come out really aggressive, I think, still. And hopefully we can sustain the lead so that we can play a lot of people.
Huge first half here, Sammy. Good luck for the second half too. Thank you. Fantastic first half here at Red Energy Arena. A massive difference in score though. We've got Geelong United on 28, Bendigo Spirit on 57. Looking forward to a great second half here coming up soon.
It's always difficult when you're trying to move clubs. I had a really great experience in Townsville. It was just probably a little bit too far from home. So I think it was trying to find a place that I felt like was going to be really good for me basketball-wise and comfortable, as well as for my family. And Bendigo just felt like a really good option. Everybody shows up, works really hard, has a lot of fun, which I think is what you want. And there's a few of the players that I'm familiar with and that I've always really wanted to play with. And so from that aspect, it was a really obvious choice. It's hard for me to say. I've always wanted to play with Kelsey. I've always really, really wanted to play with KG. I've admired her from a distance for a long time. But in saying that, like, I really respect Kelly as well. Played with Tola before, but I've never played with her in WNBL. So there's a few people that I really want to play with. They have that core group that have really great chemistry. So it's been really seamless for me to sort of just come and be a part of that on the court and off the court, which has been really nice. It's a really competitive group, but it's a group that, like I said, has a lot of fun, enjoys being competitive, enjoys that side of it, and just likes to show up every single day and get a little bit better. And so it's just been a really, really fun space to come to work every day. And then, yeah, I think I'm really excited about bringing my family to kind of a country town. I'm a little bit slower paced. We can get outside and explore, and there's a great little community there. So yeah, we're really excited. I'm a mom. I am. I love my boys. I love being a mom, love being a wife. I love just being with my family. And honestly, like, I love basketball, but I love not thinking about basketball for a while too, and having something so special and amazing that it makes the basketball, you know, lighter, and it gives me a bit of perspective on that. And I think that's made me a better basketball player.
Well, great to hear from Sammy Whitcomb there, and what a first half she's having as well, or she's had heading into the second. 20 points, 4 rebounds, and assists, 4 steals, and Bendigo very quickly becoming a good home, isn't it, Mark?
It is. I think she really fits this team well. She's a veteran. I mentioned right from the jump of the broadcast that you win championships in the WNBL with veteran teams. Her veteran presence, Mariana Tolos, Kelly Wilson, Kelsey Griffin when she comes in. I mean, even the likes of Casey Samuels and Abby Warren when they're in the lineup, they're 30 years old and have played a bunch of seasons in the WNBL. It lends itself towards a real big championship push for this team.
Certainly does. 3 of 5 from deep. Doing it from the free throw line as well. That miss from the free throw line was off a Keely throwing technical. It was a surprise as well because she actually missed one. The 2 turnovers as well, also a bit of a surprise, but doing it all and doing it relatively easy. She's done some 14 and a half minutes, mind you, as well. 20 points. Let's go into the half-time highlights, and plenty of fantastic moments so far in this game.
There has been, and I mean, credit to the Bendigo Spirit. They've dominated from go to woe. They've got 9 individual scorers. They've got Sammy, who's having a tremendous first half. 10 of 19 from the 3-point line with 5 different shooters. So where do you help from? Who do you, who do you help off of when you're trying to stop Sammy Whitcomb or Tolo doing damage? They've got a combined 30 points off turnovers and fast breaks. And you talked during that first half, Matt, about the 11 turnovers that Geelong's had. Bendigo's made them pay every time the ball's turned over.
And the thing we've seen throughout these highlights is they're making it rain from deep, as you mentioned. 10 of 20 from the land of plenty, but a player like Sammy Whitcomb has been happy to do it in a variety of ways, a real 3-level scorer.
She is, yeah. And I mean, I love that terminology, 3-level scorer, because she can score from the mid-range. She leverages contact when she goes to the basket, and she's a creative finisher around the rim. And if you bump into her, she'll make the basket and get herself on the free throw line. Probably shoots at a better clip than most from that range as well.
From most is a safe bet. You can see the half-time numbers individually. Keely Froling, she's trying to do a mountain of work. She had 9 points in the first quarter, a little quieter in the second. She's got 12 along with 3 rebounds. They just need somebody like a Jazz Shelley to get going, who hasn't really had a heap to do in the offense so far.
Right, and there's so many things that you'd want to work on if you're Geelong, but having that extra scorer is really important. Whenever you play the Spirit, because of how high-powered and how octane their offensive output is, you've got to be able to score enough to go with them. So when they can put 57 points on the board in a half, you've got to stay around the mark. 28 isn't going to get it done. I mean, the Spirit had 26 in the second quarter alone. So, Keely Froling, as you mentioned, done a tremendous job of trying to keep the scoreboard ticking over. They need 1, 2, maybe even 3 double-digit scorers to get themselves around the mark.
Let's have a look at the Dream Courts plays of the round for round 1. And another backdoor cut.
That's just fantastic conditioning.
5 seconds to go on the shot clock. Alicia Frolling's got the open floor. Hard foul came across. No. Good clean.
Melbourne again, the take, and again she'll go to the free throw line for one more. It's like a really concerted effort from Melbourne to get to the paint, get to the rim.
The Kaiser into the ball game. Sat for quite some time with those 3 personal fouls, Kaiser. Cook with a handle. Little shitty move and the scoop up and in for the finger roll lay-in.
Finds Wilson in transition. Great drop-off pass.
Oh! Highlight reel stuff.
WNBL, they're taking a stance against domestic violence. Putting a stop to this is everyone's business. Make an effort to recognise warning signs, listen to survivors and speak up. For more info, head to Full Stop Australia, that's Full Stop Australia, or you can check out the QR code there on your screen. A great initiative from the WNBL. Let's throw it down to our superstar on the sidelines, Candy Hertz.
It really has been been the Bendigo show here today, so it's no surprises. Catching up with Coach Kariyama here at halftime, he said he just wants them to stay focused and to keep building that identity. Catching up with Chris Lucas, though, it's a new look Chris Lucas this season, still with a smile, even though the results at the moment isn't really in their favour. He said they just want to make sure they get better, and the big thing is to learn from their experiences. Guess that's all you can do at this point.
Thanks, Candy. Great shout and great insight there from you as we're just about ready to start the second half. Mark, what would your halftime address be to a team that is away from home, down by almost 30 points, but you've still got 20 minutes of basketball to play, and that was almost a very bad way to get it underway?
Well, I think it'd be akin to what Candy mentioned Chris Lucas's message was. I think you're almost putting the scoreboard aside and your coaching behaviours with this young and inexperienced group. You're trying to cement winning habits and what goes into sustained winning, because that'll lead to easy baskets and putting the scoreboard pressure back on the Spirit. So things like possession play, rebounding the basketball. Is your defense where you want it to be? Is your reaction time where you want it to be? All of those things, is your team huddling and trying to realign when things feel like they're going amiss?
They get an offensive rebound here, and Hank again, who's been doing a mountain of work. Good help defense from Tolo. Extra pass was great to Froling. And nice to see that they are going, and they've rewarded Hannah Hank with the start here in the second half. She put in some good minutes, and she showed that aggressive nature that I think Coach Chris Lucas really wanted to see out of his players.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned earlier. I think you've got to roll with the people that are demonstrating what it is that leads to winning.
Very late foul call there, and a trip to the line coming for Burton.
Unlucky, but I liked that last offensive possession for Geelong, being able to rebound the ball. So offensive rebound, that's an effort-based measure that you know always leads to winning, and then the extra pass to Froling for the layup. Coming down and contesting at the other end, unfortunately gets charged with the foul, but she was in the contest and is playing to win.
She certainly is, and sadly that's also going to see her head to the bench with a little bit of foul trouble. So the second half start short-lived for Hannah Hank, that is for sure. She's playing now with 4 personal fouls. Nice momentarily though, wasn't it, Mark?
It was, and I mean the other challenge or decision I guess you have to make if you're Chris Lucas is, are you seeing this game and a W in the column for you out of reach? Because if it is, I mean, you probably don't need to foul out your own player and sub her out with foul trouble. Leave her in there, and if she fouls out, she fouls out, perhaps.
Yeah, at this point of the game, I think you might be spot on. It'll be interesting to see how long Bendigo, as we see Samuels line up another triple, and that one rings out, how long they stick with their A crew at the moment, because with this big lead and, only the start of a big season, there might be some decisions to be made down the stretch if the margin stays at this extended mark that it's at the moment. Sammy Wickham on cue. Why not have 3 more for you, Mark Alabakov?
3-ball corner pocket, Sammy Whitcomb.
2 minutes played here in the third quarter, and Sammy Wickham has picked up from where she left off. She's doing it with relative ease at the moment. Fall away, that was a tough look, and Jones does a little tumble that will lead to the free throw line for a pair.
Some style points with the reverse somersault.
Style points, I like that. This is actually, she's heading to the free throw line, which is her first trip to the line today. She's actually only shot 4 free throws through the first 2 games of the season, which is a little bit of a surprise for a player who likes to play physical.
Yeah, she does. And then at times, like she did on that particular possession, she tries to lean her shoulders back and fades away from contact to allow her shot some air space to be able to get off over taller defenders.
She's good there on the second. So Bendigo 2-0, looking to go to 3-0 here in front of their home fans. They're doing it in style. Face guarding there from Brett on Wickham. We haven't seen a heap of Brett in this game in terms of scoring the ball. She obviously had a clutch basket down the stretch against the Southside Flyers, helping them get the first win. Jones has to go in here against the smaller defender. Did all the work, but Kelly Wilson held her own relatively and then waited for the help from Mariana Tolo to impact the shot.
And deceptively quite strong for a guard, Kelly Wilson. Like, she can hold her own position in the post when she has to.
Here's Kelly Wilson with the shot clock winding down. Kick to Tolo, flips up, doesn't flip in, a little shaken up, both Tolo and Jones, and Tolo looking just a little bit ginger, and Jones is beating her down the court, so I think Marina Tolo might be coming out of this game. She's walking, she looks okay, but in a blowout at the moment, probably not worth having her in there if she's picked anything up here.
No, not at all. And one thing we missed down the far end, we had, after that contact, another Hayley Jones reverse somersault and then raced everybody down the floor, got on the end of a layup. Very hard to do.
I'd like to see you try and do that.
I'll fail miserably.
Good on the free throw. So I mentioned not getting to the line too much, and she's had 3 free throw attempts in the space of about 60 seconds. So good signs for Hayley Jones as Geelong just look to call this one. Look to get it back to around 15 or under 20 at the 3/4 time break as Sammy Wickham, my goodness, on another planet at the moment, Sammy Wickham.
And Alyssa Brett did everything you could possibly want to do from a defensive standpoint. Contested, didn't foul, restricted the position of Whitcomb getting all the way to the basket.
Maybe just spent it a little bit too quick there, Brett, and finally the ball ends up coming out to Burton. Round the back pass, hand in from Shelley was good enough to break the play. I think they should stay with Bendigo.
And we talk about what would be some standards that you'd want to steer towards if you're Geelong. So the repeated efforts on the offensive glass, keeping the basketball alive, they had that on that last possession. What you often see, with the likes of Kaiser and Raber not in the lineup, who are instinctively going to be your, rebounding types that keep the basketball alive, and Froling is where you need Froling to score. She's shooting the ball, so she can't be in a rebounding contest in a lot of instances. And you've got guards on the floor with her whose instinct it isn't to go and try and compete.
And they did a great job defensively there, but Hannon was just too good, falling over, flicked it up, flicked it in. So maybe not reaping the benefits of their hard work, and Froling got the mismatch and went straight to the basket for 2.
I mean, that last play was a case in point. So Froling shoots the ball. The closest person is Gemma Potter, who's at around the middle of the keyway.
Samuels, lucky she made that basket because she looked at Ashley Hannon, who was wide open, had the hands ready for the mid-range jumper and said, no, I'm going to do this myself, I think. Paid off. She's got the 2 and she's having a great start to the season. She's got 11 points in this game and a nice finish from Gemma Potter there as these two teams trade baskets here midway through the 3rd quarter.
If you're Geelong, you're really appreciating the response out of halftime. So far, they're only down 2 points in the quarter alone, but they're competing. They're starting to stylistically play a more competitive brand of basketball.
Going to get an open look here for Shelley. This one has to go, and it just hits front iron. Such a talented player, but just hasn't found the stroke today.
She remains scoreless. For Geelong to be able to get in the picture from a scoreboard pressure perspective, she needs to have points in the teens every week.
A lot of physicality and pressure on the ball, and eventually a foul is called. A goal against Brett.
Now, to her credit, she's been able to get others involved. She leads Geelong United for assists in the game so far. She's got the 4 and she's got the 2 rebounds and a steal to go with it. But you would just like to see her get her eye in from the 3-point line, because we know how dangerous she can be from that range.
Yeah, 4 out of their 7 assists. Now, if you're looking for a quick and easy weeknight dinner that the whole family will enjoy, pick up a family pack of Latina Fresh pasta and sauce. Ready in minutes, so delicious there won't be any complaints at the dinner table. Find Latina Fresh in a chilled pasta aisle near you. And I tell you what, at lunchtime and having to talk all that about Latina Fresh, Mark, I'm starving all of a sudden.
Making my tummy rumble.
Need to get some Latina Fresh on the way home. So lead under 30. And we see one drop for Jazz Shelley. So we've been waiting for her to get going. We know she's a lethal knockdown shooter. That'll do her confidence a world of good.
And a big exhale probably from her to be able to see one go through the hoop.
Maybe that can start something. Look to get it back inside 20 at the break and then roll the dice. Good passing here from Bendigo. Rotation was just a little bit late from Knight. Came from the weak side. And it'll be a trip to the free throw line for Opal Bird. Committed to Wake Forest, which is exciting for her.
Number of exciting Australian athletes have gone through that Wake Forest program. None more notable than Alex Sharp, who we would remember last season from the Canberra Capitals.
Had a great year. And you talk about a basketball program. You have Janika Hamby, you got Tim Duncan, you got Chris Paul. Strong basketball school that Opal Bird is on her way to.
It's a fair pedigree.
So back to 26 momentarily here. Jones with a nice little bank shot. And yes, the margin is still outside that 20, but Geelong actually winning the quarter now, which is just a big mental thing for them heading into the fourth quarter and into the round 3.
Yeah, and you're looking for small wins, right? And that can be within a possession. So here, having 2-3 players dive on a loose ball, that's a small win, because from a habit standpoint, that wasn't there in the first half. Winning the quarter, if they can win the final 2 quarters, you wipe the entirety of the match from a scoreboard standpoint. But if you can notch up 2 quarter wins, they're small wins that you can build into habits moving forward as you play throughout this season, knowing that you're going to get markedly better.
And you mentioned Georgia Booth's footy experience. There was a bit of that on that occasion.
Yeah.
Footy being AFL footy for everyone watching. She was right in and under there, bottom of the pack. Great chance while our floor wipers get their 10 seconds of fame right there to shout out Foot Locker. So the Signet WNBL season launch kicked off at Foot Locker's reimagined store in Melbourne Central. And you can celebrate the hoop season by grabbing the latest kicks and apparel at your nearby Foot Locker, the official major partner of the WNBL, as we see a triple there from Bendigo. And that new reimagined store in Melbourne Central, if you're in town, well worth checking out. And Mark, last night I just raised the thought of maybe some commentators' kicks. I'm just trying to speak that into existence through our great friends at Foot Locker.
Let's manifest that. I do love buying my shoes from Foot Locker.
I think either I'll either keep mentioning it, and they'll either tell me to stop, or I'll get a nice nice box on my front doorstep and a good basket scored by on that occasion Simpson. And there's Brett on the other end. So the number 5's trading baskets.
Another great pass by Hayley Jones. She had one to the back cutting, I believe it was Potter earlier in the quarter, and then one just there to Brett.
Trading buckets at the moment, both teams. Wickham, good find. Here is Bird. Now Nightingale, mid-range two's good. Just fantastic opportunity and experience for these younger players, Mark.
Yeah, and to come in without the stress of scoreboard pressure for you, or even being on the downside of that margin, you can come in and play confidently. And I think that always lends itself to players performing their best.
And they're playing with the 4 youngsters, and then Sammy Wickham out there as the experienced head, just looking to keep the team on the right track. Good hands and fight. And that was a nasty little hit, so it was a good effort from Shally. She comes over and just puts a hand out to Booth, who I think might have got the stray boot to the head there from over the top. As we have a look at the Amy replay, Georgia Booth going whack from deep, just trailing the play, steps into it, and has all 3 of those. A good find from Nightingale there on the Amy replay.
She's 3 of 3 from the 3-point line, Georgia Booth.
That one has been called an unsportsmanlike foul on Georgia Booth. So maybe a clear path with no defender ahead. A little hard to see exactly where that one came from, but the officials came together and decided that it was going to be an unsportsmanlike foul as Jess Shally goes to the line. Can have a look at the replay here. Didn't do a whole heap wrong going for the ball. It might have been the fact that there was no defenders ahead of the play, but not a whole heap in that, I wouldn't have thought, Mark.
No, I agree with you. I just saw a really good contest for possession of the ball.
The fight continues here from Geelong. Shally starting to get her confidence up and draws the foul here. She will take a trip to the free throw line. She's got 5 points, and all of those have come here in the third quarter. And this is how good Candy Hertz is. She's actually given us the insight there that it was a little grab that caused that unsportsmanlike foul. And this is why you have the best in the business in Candy Hertz on the sidelines, because this is the stuff that she delivers for us and the viewers.
There is none better on the sideline than Candy Hertz, the gold standard.
I eagerly await the day that one day you might describe me as the gold standard, Mark. That's what I'm working towards in life. I have no other goals except for being called the gold standard by Mark Alabakov. Narrow-minded focus from me over the next few months. Could be the greatest Christmas present you could ever give me. Just a tick over 70 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Mariana Tolo back out on the floor. Kelly Wilson, one extra pass to Samuels, corner three. She's had a few of those rim out here in this quarter as Brett takes it back the other way. She stops and pops for three. Not sure that's exactly what Chris Lucas would be after. But I think they're going to keep the ball here, just a tick under a minute to play in the third term.
But prior to that, you've got a low post catch for Mariana Tolo, and she's anticipating that there's going to be a double team coming. So, you know, Sammy Whitcomb talked about it at halftime. You're expecting some defensive change-ups. You can anticipate them so you're ready to overcome them when you see them. So she catches, she's in no hurry, sees that second defender come, and then skips the ball over to the other wing, and there's 2 against 1 on that side of the floor where they get a clean look.
Up-court pressure here from Geelong.
But you'll be looking for that to continue if they go inside to Tolo here again.
Dangerous pick and roll game here between Wilson and Tolo. They're going to eventually find Tolo, guarded by Froling. Great pass from Tolo to Samuels. It was a good cut. That's a pretty play, Mark.
She's so high IQ, Mariana Tolo. There's a reason why she's been at a high level. She's played all over the world. She's had longevity in the Australian Opals program for the better part of over a decade now.
Froling draws a foul, go to line to shoot 2.
She's just so skilled at a player that's 6'5" and has such a high IQ for the game where she can read it and always makes the right choice.
Oh, nice drop-off ball there, and Kiri Froling, who after a very hot first quarter has struggled a little bit. And it's been credit to the defense because she's tried her heart out. Up to 17 points now and 8 rebounds. Continues to deliver in spades. And it's pretty tough in the front court. We've mentioned no Kaiser, no Raber. And especially when you've got a guard, Mariana Tolo, down the other end. There's Bendigo now. Will likely hold for the last shot of the third quarter. Kelly Wilson, it's in the right hands. Goes one way, back the other way. Good cutoff. Geelong can push down the other end. Here's Brett. She stops and pops as the buzzer sounds. It's no dice. And after 3 quarters of play, it's the Bendigo Spirit in front of their home fans with a commanding lead, 79-51. Hello and welcome back to Red Energy Arena. It's been a great day if you're a Bendigo fan. Maybe not so much if you're a Geelong United fan. The Spirit leads 79-51 on their home floor. We've got 10 minutes left in this one. 10 minutes in what has been a really entertaining second round of the Signet WNBL. And of course, plenty more basketball that starts during the week and into next weekend. The fun doesn't stop if you're a WNBL fan. There's no doubt about that. Both teams just about ready to get things back underway. I'm joined by Mark Alabakov. Of course, we've got the great Candy Hertz roaming the sidelines as well. And, well, Sammy Wickham, the 25 points, we've said plenty about her. But, Mark, I'd love to chat to you about some of the other players we've seen come off the bench for Bendigo. Some of the younger players. Georgia Booth has 9 points. Nightingale has 7. Simpson 5. It's great to see these youngsters get the opportunity.
Yeah, and come in and play confidently. I think that's the most telling piece. Come in and compete to win. You know, all three of the players that you mentioned have the ability to contribute in different ways. You know, Booth's a possession player, has shot the three incredibly well. Possession player close to the basket, Asher Nightingale being a target inside.
Nice finish there from Jones.
And then you mentioned Micah Simpson. She can also shoot from the perimeter, comes in and plays some guard minutes as well. Has had a career in the NBL 1 of playing it, you know, against senior level athletes and contributing.
So still happy to run with plenty of the senior players out there with Wilson and Tolo and Burton. And just happy to mix and match these rotations, so which I actually quite like as we see a nice finish from Opal Bird. Instead of just going, here go everyone, all the youngsters on at once, have a couple of the experience level heads, which just gives them a little bit more confidence.
Absolutely, and walking billboards of what the next level looks like from a habit standpoint. And, you know, you can teach them and have them have a blind faith of, you know, in what you're trying to instruct, or you can put examples around them of what that looks like, and then somewhat by osmosis, you can create what is the new norm for them and elevate them up a level.
I think we're just
but that's really
fixing an eyelash there for Kelly Wilson, or maybe a contact lens.
Yeah, contact lens.
Do you reckon it's contact?
Yeah. But I think
contact lens. Geez, look at that. Talk about a professional. She's going to actually have to run off because the contact lens has come out and she's going to do it behind the sidelines. This is quite remarkable to see. I thought maybe there was something that had gotten into her eye, like an eyelash or maybe a stray finger, but it was the contact lens that popped out. She pops it back in. She's ready to go.
She's unbelievable. And, I mean, even if her eyeball popped out, she would
pop it straight
correct.
back in and keep going.
Absolutely she would, and she'd be back ready for the next possession. But I think you hit the nail on the head. If you're Bendigo, this fourth quarter, you're trying to continue to get the win, but keep the margin in and around where it is, but try to get minutes into these bench players without any drop in your standards. And, you know, when you've got veterans like Wilson and Tolo and even Burton for her experience out on the floor with those younger players, it can be really helpful to make that happen.
So the Spirit at the moment, they lead 79-51, and our superstar on the ground, Candy Hertz, has a bit more on the home side.
Yeah, you guys are talking a little bit about taking things to the next level. Surprisingly, you'd think Coach Ariyama would be all smiles at this point, but actually he's pretty firm with the team, saying that he just wants them to lock in more, to talk a bit more, and he still wants more from them, which gives us a really good indication on how he's coaching them ahead for this season.
Thanks, Candy. Yeah, good signs for Bendigo. And in fact, they're going to get an early timeout here as well because Coach Kenny Kariyama is staying right on top of his troops. They have this big lead, but he is not happy with how they have started the fourth quarter. Geelong fighting back momentarily, but the Spirit well in charge in the fourth. Hello and welcome back to Red Energy Arena. Bendigo Spirit with a big lead here, but Coach Kenny Kariyama was not happy with what he's seen early in this quarter. And I tell you what, almost a turnover wouldn't have been a good way to come out of the timeout. But a firm message we saw there, Mark.
Yeah, and I think that you can have that, that opportunity with your team, especially when the lead is what it is, because you don't have the psychological pressure of the game being in really close proximity. I think anytime that you've got a lead, it's smart coaching to be harder on the standards for your team and try to drive those to continue moving in the right direction. Avoid any slippage that the scoreboard might cause.
See what they're going to come out with out of this timeout. It's going to end up in the hands of Tolo. Finds its way to Wilson, and turnover, backcourt violation, and Coach Kariyama not pleased at all, goes straight to his bench, and not really the execution they want out of the timeout. Now, Mark,
talk to me.
We were shouting out our great sponsors at Foot Locker earlier, the official major partner of the WNBL.
Yes.
And I may have put in a request for some commentators to get some love. I had firm instruction to make sure that we include the production staff in that as well.
Excellent.
So please, Foot Locker, if you are listening, not just the commentators. We will a little bit of everybody, I think.
Can we follow suit when we have to plug Ford?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. They are very good to us, though, the great people at Ford. Of course, you can find the Everest that's right for you at your local Ford dealer.
Tremendous supporters of this Signet WNBL.
Free throws here for Gemma Potter.
Now, one thing we haven't mentioned, Matt.
Oh, no, I'm concerned now. What haven't we mentioned?
As on fire as this Spirit team have been, they still have Abby Werung and Kelsey Griffin to come into this lineup. So Abby Werung, exceptional role player, 3&D, has been an Australian Opal at the FIBA Asia Cup in 2023. And then Kelsey Griffin, I mean, superlatives, right? Like what can you possibly say that does justice the impact that she can have on a team?
Not sure if you can hear that, but that's every team around the competition just shuddering for a brief moment when you mention that. Triple down the end there for Geelong. Handy basket. They continue to perform well here in this quarter and the second half, but they've just got themselves a mighty mountain to climb. Kelsey Griffin, probably not too far off, suffered that broken finger just in the lead up to their opening game. I think it was while guarding Mariana Tolo, as we see Kelly Wilson try and hoist one up with the shot clock winding down, but it's a takeaway here. Kick back and nice work in transition. The shot doesn't drop. So Griffin back soon. Abby Werung missed in that game against the Caps due to concussion. So hopefully she's back next week as well. And another timeout for Coach Kenny Kariyama. But exciting signs if you're the Spirit.
There is, and I mentioned from the outset that you can look at the past 10 to 15 champions of the WNBL. They've probably more commonly than not been a veteran lineup that has been successful. So there's a correlation between those two things. And you look at the roster that's been put together by the Bendigo Spirit for this coming season, it's laden with veteran talent, all exceptional players, but who've got experience and winning experience at this level and above. They're primed to really push strongly and deeply into the Signet WNBL final series, and they'd be the early championship favourite for mine.
Yeah, they certainly look the type. Now, they can't look too far ahead for the moment, Mark, because while this has been happening in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, it's back to a 17-point ball game. Are you saying there's a chance?
Look, I think the Spirit would have the opportunity to slam the door shut if they wanted to and roll back in with 5 starters, but I mean, look, credit to Coach Kenny Kariyama. They're going to go back in with a similar lineup, but if it got hairy, there's moves that they could still make on the chessboard to steer it back in their favour. I think this is a pretty commanding lead.
13-2 in this quarter. At what point does it get hairy officially? What's the official mark for that? Are you saying under 10?
I would say under 10.
You're a more confident man than I am. I'm already nervous for Bendigo at the moment. 81-64. They do have possession here, and Sammy Whitcomb is back on, which is always a good sign if you're looking for a basket. And they need one, just the 2 points through the first 3.25 minutes of this fourth quarter. Samuels, how was the move? And the drop-off pass was just a little bit late, so a turnover, and here comes Geelong again. A lot of things have to go right, and that's gone right for them again. We've got a game on our hands, Mark.
And you saw the immediate reaction from Coach Kennedy Kariyama, quick sub coming to the bench.
We're back to 15.
Though I believe it's Nightingale who's going to get an opportunity.
Samuel's going again. Entry feed was good. Double team came from Ellsworthy, and a late foul call from the opposite side on the double. And Bendigo maybe just bailed out there on that possession. Right, Nightingale checks in. Love to see the ball in the hands of Sammy Whitcomb in this possession if you're Bendigo. Just get a steady basket. 2-3 zone. Great find from Whitcomb. Samuels missed the gimme layup. The tide is turning, Mark Alabakov.
Big possession coming up if you're Geelong. If they can get a score here, go a long way to putting some pressure on the Spirit.
81-66. Brett for three. My goodness, do you believe in miracles, Mark?
It's a lot of ball game to go, isn't there?
It's back to 12. It is an 18-2 quarter the way of United. They have not gone away. Whitcomb, drop-off ball, good hands. And it's going to stay with the Spirit. 5.5 minutes. We've got a long time to play. The Spirit have stopped, and no surprise Tolo comes into the game.
And here come the reinforcements. Wilson and Tolo back in the game.
Great defensive play, Geelong. They've got their tails up at the moment. Sit in this zone. Had some good looks, Bendigo, but they just haven't been able to knock them down. Now out of the zone, Whitcomb, open three. Is this the one? Sammy Whitcomb. When you need a star, you look to Sammy, and she steps up with a big triple. And then comes away with the steal as well. All roads lead to Sammy Whitcomb in this one. Samuels needs to give the ball up and gets bailed out with a foul there from Jones. Didn't need to lead in. The double team came. Had a player open in the corner, but Samuels will head to the line to shoot a pair.
Probably unlucky there from Jones. I thought she did everything right from a defensive standpoint. That would have been a really big stop in the context of this game.
We've got a timeout on the floor. I think there's a little bit of confusion. Bendigo going to the bench, not going to the bench. They are going to the bench. So timeout on the floor, 84-69. It's been an 18-5 quarter the way of Geelong. And regardless of the result here, this is good momentum to take into training, because I tell you what, it's a tough week on the track if you walk away with a big win early in the weekend and then a heavy loss in the second. You come to training very, very flat, but this is some momentum here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's the roller coaster of coaching an emerging team. So that's where steering towards coaching behaviours and cementing winning habits has got to be the mandate here from Coach Chris Lucas. Can they continue to try and generate easy baskets off possession play, rebounding the basketball? Can their defense turn into some offense? And then can they keep heat on the rim where they're going to get high percentage shots but put themselves in an opportunity where they might get some free throws out of place too and keep the scoreboard ticking over?
So we'll keep an eye on them in the second 5 minutes of this final quarter. Of course, Geelong playing on Saturday. They are hosting Adelaide Lightning, and then the Spirit, they play in the second game of that Saturday night doubleheader on November 16 and travelling to Townsville. And that's going to be a great game, you would think. Townsville also having a really strong start to the season. And the first free throw goes for Samuels.
An undefeated start to the season for the Fire.
And if the Spirit can win, hold on in this game. Bendigo also playing on that Wednesday night against the Sydney Flames, so another double. So a quick turnaround Sunday into Wednesday. And on the road for the second game, and a big hit there for Geelong.
Yeah, I mean, once the season starts, it's unrelenting how quickly the games start to amass for you. So it shows the importance of having clarity in your systems and trying to pick up some of those early wins so that you don't lose touch with the top end.
Uncharacteristic pass from Callie Wilson, almost chopped off. They're going to reset the shot clock, I think, which if you were Geelong, you're probably a little bit unhappy with. I don't think it was clear possession, but it gives them another great look here. And a tie-up will result in a baseline ball. didn't have much of an option there, potted down low, had to foul.
They've done a pretty strong job of executing from their baseline out of bounds plays, the Spirit. So a really big defensive possession coming up for Geelong to make sure they don't leak an easy basket here.
That was a savvy veteran move. Kelly Wilson had all day to have a look at that one, doesn't go, but Tolo was doing the tying up and was really smart to act like she was the one getting tied up to draw the foul. That replay angle gave us a good look.
It's that veteran savvy.
That's it. Jones got herself into trouble. I think that's come off her leg. It has. Casey Samuels has a bit to say about it as well. She's got 15 points, 6 rebounds in this game. Has continued her strong start to the season. Taking full opportunity of the minutes that would probably normally go to a Kelsey Griffin in that position. Here's Whitcomb one more time. Good pass to Tolo. And the veterans have steadied the ship here in Bendigo.
And it's what makes them so dangerous. And you look at all of the other teams within the Signet WNBL, it's going to be hard to see who would have the capacity to stop the Tolo and Whitcomb pick and roll late in the game when the game's on the line.
That just about sums up Geelong's day, I think. That one looked in and just didn't drop. It just hasn't gone their way.
The lap of honour.
It did. It almost did 3 laps of honour the way that one went round and round and round and then dropped out. Ball eventually finds its way to Tolo. Did it work early, and that is about as easy as you can get for Mariana Tolo. A timeout now here for Geelong, and I dare say that maybe some of the youngsters come back into the game for Bendigo because the ship, as I said, has well and truly been steadied. As we take a look at the Amy replay, this great defensive play from Casey Samuels, good hands, and a big nod of the head as well.
Yeah, great job with defensive pressure to find that opportunity when the ball is put in harm's way to knock it loose. Came off Hayley Jones's leg. A really critical stop for the Spirit.
So 90-72 at the moment, the way of Bendigo. But a good quarter for Geelong. They're actually winning the quarter by 10, 11-21, and the good signs for them is defensively. So keeping a high-powered offense that has gone 31, 26, 22 so far in every quarter to just 11. If they can keep that number to under 20, it's you've got to try and take the little things, don't you, Mark?
Absolutely. They'll be, as I mentioned earlier, looking to try to win both quarters in this second half and treating them like mini games of their own. So almost putting the end game scoreboard aside and coaching, you know, 2 mini games and the behaviours that lie within it to make sure that it steers the group towards a style of basketball that you want to play, but a style that is going to win. Knowing that you've got Kaiser to come in, you've got Raber to come in, you're dealing with a size mismatch with the lineup that you can put on the floor against the Spirit now.
Let's throw it down to our star on the sidelines, Candy Hurts.
Yeah, this timeout was actually led by Captain Keely Froling, who said we're only going to get better if we make our way all the way through plays. There's still a level of positivity within this team. What did come from Chris, though, is to say to Keely, go get Sammy.
Go get Sammy. I like that. Putting it in the hands of Geelong. Not matched up on her at the moment, but certainly one to keep an eye on. I think the pressure is going to come from Keely Froling, maybe from the weak side or something if Sammy Whitcomb goes and gets a catch.
Well, I would be surprised if Froling matched up with Whitcomb, but I mean, look, credit to Coach Chris Lucas. You throw everything that you can and the kitchen sink at trying to stop Sammy Whitcomb. And probably best to leave no stone unturned, right?
Why not? Good hands there from Geelong. And as a team, they went after Sammy Whitcomb. They didn't let her get the catch. Keep it under 20. That's what United have to do here. Take some momentum into next week. You've got a bit of a break, a winnable game against the Lightning. Shalley, good kick to the corner. And this is an interesting one. So Hannah Hang's come back on now, but had a long time off due to that 4th foul. But I think you're right, Mark. Good hit from Brett there in the corner. Is it worth just keeping her out there on the floor? Because with the margin, if she fouls out, she fouls out.
Yeah, and it's a judgment call that you make. When you're coaching, I mean, a rule of thumb that I use is if the game's close, if a player has more fouls than the quarter that you're in, well, then you take them out. But if the margin was what it was, you could roll the dice knowing that she was bringing a stack of energy.
Veronica Burton up to 7 points now with that triple.
And was more indicative of the way that you want to play. So far better to perhaps have her out there in that instance. But one of the things that we do sometimes without thinking of it is we foul our own players out.
As Burton takes full advantage of that loose tipped ball and scoops through and scores. It is always one of the great debates of what you do with a player in foul trouble. As we can see now, a whole platoon swap about to occur for Bendigo. Samuels, can she put the cherry on top? She can't. Look who ends up with the ball, Sammy Wickham, who somehow has kicked the ball out but is grabbing at her left leg. So little concern here at the moment for Sammy Wickham. I think she's okay, might have just taken a knock. She's up to her feet, which is a big relief for, well, the entirety of the WNBL because she's such a great player to watch. Maybe a corky or something like that. We can have a look. Great effort. And right there you can see the left knee of Hannah Hank, of course, an incidental, nothing behind that, but one of those classic corkies that you get into the side. And I tell you what, when you've got a quick turnaround, they can be pesky injuries, can't they, Mark?
They can, and limit the mobility that you have, especially when you're trying to take off quickly to dislodge defenders from you and find space.
And always a tough one as a coach when you had the subs ready to go, and not an overly too serious knock, but a little knock to one of your star players. Maybe I should have gone one whistle earlier.
But you never know, right?
You never know. So 20-point game. We've got 1:20 to play. Loose ball. Shalley comes up with it, kicks it ahead. Hank through traffic, lefty finish was a little too strong. I think that's going to stay with Geelong. It will. And how's this for Bendigo? Every player on the scoreboard. It's always something you love to see, and that's got to be team building.
You do, you love that, and it's born out of the confidence that you play with when you get out on the floor.
So they've brought a big crew as well, of course, a home game, so 11 players, all of them with at least 2 or more points. That one rolls in and out for Georgia Booth, who's played really well in her 8 minutes, 9 points. Maybe earning herself a few extra minutes or at least a look in at the rotation. Hank has continued to put in. Look at that effort on the ground and delivered. Bit of a chop across the forehead as well. Nightingale, I get the feeling that one might be a charge, ain't it?
But you'd be happy with that as Coach Chris Lucas. Crichton gets her feet in front, wears the contact. You know, the game is over with 30 seconds to go, but I kept talking earlier about the habits that go towards winning. That would be one of them, and you'd be praising that and probably showing it on film during the week.
And I'll be very excited to get Kaiser and Raver back as well, just to give a little bit more strength and depth in that front court. Shot clock down to single digits here for Geelong. A little bit of a messy possession. Hank hasn't been afraid. Little head fake was nice. The pass fake, it all ended up in a shot attempt that didn't go down. Shalley, no look past Potter. Clock winding down. Shalley from the car park. No, another offensive rebound. Flip up and finally a foul called. And Crichton will go to the line to shoot a pair with 1.9 seconds on the clock.
You love that hustle from Crichton to go and chase down the loose ball and then try to go up with the putback opportunity. I mean, when you're a young athlete in this league, sometimes the opportunities are few and far between, but all of them look the same, right? It's the same opportunities on the floor as we've seen the Spirit players prosper in. You've got to come out and give it your best and play with a mountain of effort, and she's certainly done that.
Bendigo Spirit fans still finding their voice. They're up by a fair chunk. But that will do us for the final game of round 2 of the Signet WNBL 24-25 season. It's Bendigo in front of their home fans who walk away winners 95-78. They got the jump early. They won the first quarter 31-14 and they didn't look back from there. There was maybe a little minor scare in the fourth quarter. I thought maybe we had something on our hands, but they brought the veterans back out onto the court and they were good enough to steady the ship and walk away with an 18-point victory. 17-point victory, 95-78 the way of the Spirit. For Geelong, well, they did win the final quarter, 26-16. They won the third quarter as well, so winning the second half is a good sign for them, although the 17-point margin probably not the best one to look at, Mark Alabaco.
Yeah, you're spot on. And look, they gave it a crack in the second half, so they won the last 2 quarters, but qualitatively their effort went up. So they had 13 offensive rebounds in the second half alone, so they were competing far better. Put them in a position where it looked like they might have started to challenge, but when you're coaching a young group, an inexperienced group, you want to try to drive or point to those habits as like, can we get that from the start of the game and be able to carry it through 4 quarters rather than just in response to when things don't go to plan.
Yeah, it's a good shout, Mark, as we see Kelsey Griffin, of course, coming back into this lineup in the next few weeks, bringing the team together. And second little gag that came in there. They've gone in again for the second go at the. I like this. When you win, you like to win like that, and you put the hands in twice. Why not? And it is an entertaining effort and an entertaining performance from the Bendigo Spirit as they applaud their home fans. And Candy Hertz has our player of the game, and no surprise, she's getting pretty friendly down there and talking plenty to Sammy Wickham.
It feels like this season we'll be talking a lot to Sammy Wickham. Yes, player of the game, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals. What an incredible game. It feels like there was great chemistry as well through the team today and real confidence. How would you describe the team?
Yeah, I think we're building a lot of that. We feel really good together. I think we just have a lot of hardworking, unselfish players. So a lot of times that turns into just getting good shots. And we have a lot of really great shooters. So when we make them, it's pretty good. Obviously, we'd love to not have the lapses that we had in that second half, especially the fourth quarter, but all things we can learn from.
Every single player on the team on the scoreboard today, including all those DPs, their first minutes, a couple of them as well. How proud are you of their development?
Oh, they work so hard. They train so well against us. So I'm not surprised, but I'm super proud and happy for them.
I'm really excited for them too. You heard the crowd really get behind them down here. You've still got Abby and you've got Kelsey to get themselves back out here on court. What's going to happen when they get out here?
Yeah, I mean, these are really valuable games to win, valuable minutes to get into other players because our depth is going to be something that we rely on. We don't know when we're getting them back, so we're just trying to make the most of it. But when we do, obviously they're phenomenal players, so we're super excited about that.
Sammy, 27 points first game, 25 points second game, now 28 points. Are we going to see this from you all season?
I don't know. I'm just trying to have fun, play hard, make shots for my teammates, and win.
Lucky last question. Are you all right? You got a little injury at the end?
Yeah, old lady injury.
Okay. Congratulations and welcome to well done for today. We'll welcome in Georgia Booth. Congratulations. What an incredible game today. And how fantastic. Are you enjoying having a new team?
Oh, I absolutely love them. I don't think I've ever loved basketball so much. So it's just like, it's unbelievable. So, yeah.
Talk us a little bit through what it's like with this team. How is it different from your past experiences?
Everyone just genuinely celebrates each other. There's so much knowledge to be passed around. You can go to anyone for anything you want. Like, they're just a great group of girls, yeah.
Yeah, that knowledge passing, I'd love to know more about it. Huge IQ, amazing veterans in your team. How do they actually pass that knowledge through to you?
I mean, I've been shooting with Sammy for ever since she got here, and just little things with my shot, she's helped me so much, so credit to her for helping me with that too. And then just KG, Tolo, little things that you wouldn't think of automatically, they just say it and they say it in a good way, so yeah, it's so good.
Oh, Georgia, we love watching you develop each game. Congratulations on today and continue enjoying the season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Great to hear from Sammy Wickham and Georgia Booth. Georgia Booth, great performance, 9 points in 9 minutes. And a fantastic sign here for Bendigo in terms of experience for these players off the bench. Every bench player played 7 minutes or more, and that doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't, and they got on the scoreboard as well. And I mean, Sammy Wickham talked about players playing with effort, and 2 of the biggest metrics for that is what you do with possession play and rebounds. They had 6 individuals that had an offensive rebound, 7 individuals that had a steal. So bringing the effort, and they get themselves a W.
They certainly do. As we look through some of the highlights, we haven't mentioned Keely Froling in the post-game. What a fantastic effort from her. 26 points and 13 rebounds she finished with. She had to do a mountain of work, played 30 and a half minutes, did everything you can ask. And it is handy for this team. They've got an anchor on there on the floor.
Yeah, gallant effort by her. Got them going early, was trying to take on Mariana Tolo, which is always a tough task, scoring on her and then trying to stop her from scoring. But then had her teammates chip in the second half to help out. She's going to be able to play with a whole lot more time and space once they get Kaiser back in the lineup too.
And speaking of Keely Froling, I believe we're going to get a chance to talk to her a little bit later on as we continue to roll through these highlights. And well, a great second half for Geelong. They fought back, they won the second half, which was fantastic after what was really a gut punch in that first period, and it was a Sammy Whitcomb-style gut punch.
It was, and I mean, she's so dangerous on the offensive end. There's a reason why I affectionately termed her Sammy Whit Bomb, because of the three-point bombs that she can hit. But like you mentioned, gallant from this Geelong lineup to bring the effort in the second half and respond from a situation that was going south, and do a great job with getting the wins in Q3 and Q4.
So some fantastic highlights there, and it's a good chance to throw down to Candy Hertz, who's with Keely Foley.
Captain, congratulations on your result tonight, 26 points, but I know for you it's all about the team. How do you feel your leadership went tonight as captain?
Yeah, I think, we know with this group there's going to be games that are a bit harder, and I think tonight was one of those, and I'm just proud of the girls because of how we responded. And I think in the Townsville game we came out in the second half and weren't very good, and we made some adjustments and we came out, and I feel like, I don't know the stats, but I feel like we won the second half, which is really big, and we're going to keep building on that. Obviously Bendigo are a really good team, so we're just going to keep building and get better and better.
When we chatted to Chris at halftime, he said, let's just treat this game as a bit of a learning experience. What do you think are some of the good learnings, especially for the younger players?
Well, for me, it's that we can compete with anyone, and I think just having that belief and playing hard from the start, I think we came in almost a little bit scared, which, we've got some superstars on that other side. So just having that belief, playing hard, believing in ourselves, and, we're going to be good. We're going to get some wins. It's just early days, and we're figuring ourselves out at the moment.
What do you think you need to work on now? Your next game, of course, against Adelaide next week.
Yeah, I think defence, we can't let many teams score 95 and expect to win. So definitely defence. And then for us, it's just flowing and learning where to get our shots, what are good shots, all those sorts of things. So, like I said, great way to respond in the second half. And I'm sure we'll watch hours of film this week and get ready for Adelaide.
Now, because you played with him a few times, but I'm feeling like Chris Lucas is a different Chris Lucas this season. Is that right?
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, this is obviously a young group, and he's been pretty chill, which is good. I like it.
Chilled and really positive as well.
Yeah, really positive, and he's been great, for this group. And I think, like I said, we're just going to get better and better. And with him at the helm, we're in really good hands.
Obviously a tough game, but a really great attitude, Keely. We look forward to seeing how you keep developing through the season.
Thank you. Thanks, Candy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Candy. Great to hear from Keely following after what was a tough day at the office. She did put up some big numbers, but really not the result they wanted. We have a look at the full-time stats, and you can see Keely following there, 26 and 13, and had some moments for the likes of Hayley Jones. There was a nice little spurt from Jazz Shelley, but just wasn't the full four-quarter performance that they needed to have today to win.
Yeah, and you have to have four quarters put together on both sides of the court to beat a team the quality of the Bendigo Spirit. So for Geelong, they had that for the second half. It'll provide some great teachable moments for them to go back during the week and learn from, and then try their hand at getting a win against the Adelaide Lightning.
And one I really want to point out here, Kelly Wilson, 5 assists now. By my often dodgy maths, I think that takes her to 1,588 assists. So she's 29 away from tying the WNBL all-time record, 30 away from passing it, and that's Kristen Veal who has that record.
Yeah, and another quality passer of the basketball. I would say with Kelly Wilson, you're going to find that she'll make those up in a hurry. She's got the capacity to get you double-digit assists. She's so creative and has exceptional court vision.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that as that number trickles down, and she again enters the record books for another reason, because of course has played over 450 games. There's no other player who's played 400, which is remarkable. We have a look at the results from round 2 now that it's in the books. The Spirit, the big winners today, but also across the weekend. A huge 23-point victory. They go 2-0. The Lynx split their weekend 1-1. Geelong split their weekend 1-1, as did the Flyers. So no clear sign as to who's really standing out at the moment.
Not just yet, but I mean, across the sample size of the first month of the season, we'll see things begin to shake out. I think the most notable things from the round has been Geelong getting that first win, which was huge for their franchise, and a really gutsy one at that. And a fantastic response then afterwards by the Flyers to get a win over the Sydney Flames.
And next Wednesday, speaking of the Sydney Flames, they will play host to the Bendigo Spirit in what should be a fantastic way to kick off round 3 of the Signet WNBL. Now, kids, keep hold of that autograph, because she's about to become the assist records holder probably at some point in the next month or 2. So that one could be worth a little bit as she signs autographs there, Kelly Wilson. And this is the great part about basketball and basketball in Bendigo. You get stuff like this, and it happens across the league as well, where the fans get a chance directly after the game to come up and talk to their idols.
Absolutely, and I love that across the board, most WNBL clubs have taken part in this type of initiative to give touch points for the community with the athletes that they've just seen on the floor. They do such a tremendous job on the floor, and then providing role models for young boys and girls alike at what exceptional looks like.
I've still got a Lauren Jackson and Andrew Gay's autograph tucked away that I hold very, very close. There's no doubt about that. It's been a fantastic day of basketball here. The Bendigo Spirit, they put on an absolute show. They were too good in the end, and it wraps a big second round. So on behalf of all the production crew, on behalf of Candy Hertz on the sideline, Mark Alabakov alongside me, I've been Matt Hickey. We hope you've enjoyed today's hoops. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time.